Rugby Championship 2021, the round 3 team of the week. Let's go. Let's pick some All Blacks, some Pumas, some Wallabies and some Springboks. 15 of the best guys from the 2 games at the weekend and a few honourable mentions as well. We'll go through the guys, the reasons I picked them and the stats. By no means a perfect team, but it's my team. Any guys I leave out, do leave your comments in the comments box below to let us know who you would have picked and the reasons why, preferably. But let's start with some props. I am going to start with a Springbok guy for your loose head, and it's Steven Kitshoff, man. Didn't do a heck of a lot ball in hand with 2 runs for no meters, but that's kind of prop-like. Where he shines is at the scrum time. He doesn't concede any penalties. He props the scrum pretty well. He's always a threat at the breakdown, and believe it or not, he manages 12 out of 13 tackles, which for a prop is quite the shift. So kind of not one with the glory, but certainly putting the pressure on at scrum time. And yeah, defensively very solid. So good effort from Steven Kitshoff. He is a pretty consistent player. And a similar reason why I've picked this guy from the Pumas is Santiago Medrano. He, defensively, absolute unit, man. The Pumas didn't do a heck of a lot ball in hand, but the dude makes 17 out of 17 tackles. Wins a turnover, even has 5 runs in an effort where the Pumas didn't have a heck of a lot of ball. He only gets 3 meters, but he still beats a defender. He doesn't concede any penalties either, which is usually a bit of a gold star for a prop, right? If you can get through your whole shift without conceding any penalties, it usually means you've done something right, and that's something we can say about both of these guys. So, 2 of the guys from the losing teams to start with, and we'll continue that into hooker as we go with Malcolm Marx. Now, he did have a bit more of an offensive gold star performance, and the fact that he was the benefactor of some good Springbok mauling. So was Mbonambi, but Malcolm Marx got 2. He gets 2 tries, 6 runs for 12 meters when he comes on, beats a defender, and has 6 out of 7 tackles. Another guy who's always a threat at the breakdown, but yeah, Big Malcolm at the back of a maul. There's not many better at being able to kind of convert that pressure into points. So there you go. We got a Springbok, and a Puma to start off the front 3. Where are the All Blacks, you're asking? Well, we'll go into the locks, and we will get our man, Brodie Retallick, captain for this game, and he puts in a captain's shift, didn't he? He was very much enjoying his role. He was a bit of an everywhere man, was Big Brodie. He finishes with 10 runs for 24 meters, which is actually pretty bloody good for a big bit of tall timber like Brodie. 4 passes, 13 out of 15 tackles, so one of the better New Zealand defenders. Remember, the New Zealanders didn't have to make a heck of a lot of tackles. I think it was like 100 all up compared to almost double for the Pumas. He also has 3 line-out wins, not 13, and 2 turnovers, 1 as well. So yeah, the guy was just everywhere. If there was any kind of question mark about him coming back to New Zealand from Japan and not very good nick, you can just look at that game and know that it's still the same old Brodie Retallick that we know and love. I've got another Puma here in the second row. He was actually captain for a while. I don't know if he knew he was supposed to be captain, but Matias Alemano. Again, it's a defensive shift from the Pumas because that's the effort they were put into. 20 out of 20 tackles is more than most that you will see at any point during the year, but especially from a lock in this game. 20 out of 20 is proper good, and 7 line-out wins. So he was their main man for the aerial battle. Petty did a couple of nice defensive reads in the line-out, won a couple of balls from All Blacks throw, but 7 line-out wins for Alemano. 20 out of 20 tackles. He has 5 passes, so when they did have the ball, he was a little bit of a link-up man. 1 run for 2 meters is nothing to write home about. But man, defensively very solid. Pumas fans, you can probably turn off now, unless you want to stick around for the honourable mentions. Loose boards, blindside, I've gone with Franco Mostert. And speaking of defensive shifts, he has 13 out of 14 tackles, which is, I think, is he first equal? For the Springboks guys, I think he's first equal with Diacha, but Diacha missed about 5 tackles, whereas Mostert just the 1. He has 2 runs for 1 meter, so not exactly kind of busting it up on the blind side. Remember, he does shift back into the second row later in the game. But yeah, it wasn't a real big week for the Sixers. I felt like Swinton Maybe discipline let him down a little bit. He was pretty good at line-out time, actually. Akira didn't quite have the same impact that we were maybe looking for. I know Kremer did make a bunch of tackles for the Pumas, but Mostert, he also has 4 line-out wins, and 2 of those directly lead to maul tries, to Mbonambi's one and Marx's second. So when they want a key man to get up, secure the ball, transfer, and really drive that maul forward, it's Mostert who's the guy they go for. So, yeah, Mostert there at number 6. And Springboks, it's been nice to see you fans here as well. You guys can probably switch off for a bit. Wallabies fans, you guys can stay here, and I'll get to you guys presently, because we've got this guy, Michael Hooper. The dude is Captain Fantastic, isn't he? At number 7. The guy, speaking of everywhere guys, like I mentioned with Brodie Retallick, Hooper is the same. There's one phase of play where I swear it's a tackle by Hooper. He gets up and he either makes the next tackle or the tackle after, and then makes himself a nuisance at the breakdown and wins a breakdown penalty. It's just, he just seems to be everywhere. So he finishes with 2 runs for 30 metres, which is a good return. 9 passes, so kind of high involvement rate for Michael. 2 clean breaks, 2 defenders beaten, 7 from 7 tackles. Just a proper shift, man, from the captain. He is such a talisman for them. Without him, I mean, they've got heaps of good loosies in Australia, but without him, they're not as good a team as they are. So, yep, Australia breed good 7s. That is just a thing. And the last of the loosies, I've gone with an All Black. It's Luke Jacobson. He gets a couple of tries. Remember, he's in for Adi Savia, who was out with concussion, and he took his moment pretty well, did Luke Jacobson. 2 tries, 14 runs for 64 metres is a proper effort from him. 9 passes, also high involvements, 2 clean breaks, 3 defenders beaten and offload, 12 from 12 tackles. It's not all perfect though, like he's got 3 turnovers conceded. At one point he just chucks an offload like straight into the sideline, so not all perfect, man, but pretty bloody good. Pretty good. So, yeah, there's your 4-pack. For this one, I think the backs is largely going to be All Blacks, man, based on the way the game's played out. But we will have a couple of guys in the green and gold, which is how we refer to Aussies. I know Springboks fans also use green and gold, right? But both sides seem to use it. We'll have some Wallabies guys in there. But we will start with TJ Perenara in terms of the backs. Your halfback. I mean, he looked pretty good as well, didn't he? It helps that he had a lot of ball. He had a stupid amount of ball. He finishes with a try assist, which is the pass to Reece, which is pretty well called. Reece calls for it, and he delivers it to avoid a bunch of the Pumas tacklers. 5 runs for 20 metres, so he was keeping the guys on their toes. I think he took at least 1 quick tap, right? 99 passes is a lot more than you will usually get. That's a heap of passes. Shame we didn't get 1 more for the 3 digits, but there you go. 2 from 2 tackles, makes 2 kicks. So not about his kicking game this week. 99 passes, just driving that All Blacks pack around the field. Number 10, you have to go Cooper, man. I know Brodie was good. Brodie was exceptional, but Cooper, you can't not pick Cooper for this position, honest to goodness. He has a conversion and 7 penalties for 23 points, including the clutch match winner at the death. Like, the guy was so cool. And then the post-match interview, he's just like, yeah, rugby's not everything, so I'm pretty chill. No pressure getting to that, man. 6 runs, 15 metres, 19 passes, a defender beaten, 4 from 4 tackles, and he's defensively been pretty frail in the past, but 4 from 4 for him. He has an offload and 5 kicks. He just, again, like TJ, drove the team round, made good decisions, very calm presence, kicked when he needed to kick, but not that much. You know, made good passing options. So, Quade, what can you say? He had a pretty bloody good game. Likewise did this man at number 12, Samu Kerevi. I think he makes a big difference, man. He makes a big difference. He's just so good at getting over the advantage line. He's so good at beating first-up tacklers and getting that offload away to guys that just create space. You often need 2 guys on him, and sometimes he still gets through the first 2. 17 runs is a huge involvement rate, 46 run meters. He has a clean break and 6 defenders beaten, which is a huge shift. 8 passes, 2 offloads, 2 from 3 tackles is not the flashiest stat, and 2 turnovers conceded. But man, you can't question his impact on the Wallabies, man. Just having that big ball carrier. I mean, people compare him to guys like Tuilangi, compare him to Daylender, like just that, maybe even like a Nonu back when the All Blacks had Nonu. Just that big battering ram of a runner that's going to draw defenders and create space for others, and maybe sometimes he'll just do it himself. Great to see him back in Aussie rugby. Love seeing that guy play. He is proper joy to watch. Other midfielder, I have gone with Rieko Ioane. He managed to snaffle a try. That was kind of the first man to the ball, and it was him. He was in a foot race with Jordie Barrett to get that first try for the All Blacks. He's the man who got it. He's shown a turn of pace, and that's been great to see for All Blacks fans. 10 runs for 131 run meters. He was tearing it up, man. 2 clean breaks, 4 defenders beaten, 8 passes, 6 from 7 tackles. He wasn't even supposed to be playing. Remember, ALB was supposed to play, but he came in late. And, it's not all perfect. 3 turnovers conceded and a penalty conceded. But Rieko, I have questioned him in the midfield for quite some time. But I think he's getting there. Maybe he's just getting there, folks. He still needs to be tested a wee bit more. But Rieko, I think, is all those games he played for the Blues at 13, maybe starting to pay off. Outside backs, I've gone with George Bridge. George Bridge didn't end up scoring a try, got bloody close, but he was denied one in the corner by the TMO. No kind of convincing evidence that he was the try scorer, but he got close. 11 runs for 114 run meters. Now, 4 clean breaks in that, a defender beaten, but to put that into context, if you take the 2 Aussie wingers, the 2 Argentinian wingers, and the 2 South African wingers, and add all their run meters up together, they're 130, so this one dude almost has the same as those 6. So, I mean, George Bridge has got his detractors here in New Zealand, but you can kind of see why I've picked the Kiwi wingers here, because I've also gone with Sevu Reece, but I'll get to his numbers in just a tick. Bridge, like I mentioned, 4 clean breaks, a defender beaten, 2 passes, 3 from 3 tackles. He does have 2 turnovers conceded, and one of them will be that denied try in the corner, but he looked sharp. It's going to be hard for him to retain a spot in the All Blacks with the talent we've got on the wings, but he certainly put his best foot forward. Maybe could have been better if he'd got a try, but apart from that. Reece, like I mentioned, he does get a try when the All Blacks were kind of struggling to get through that Argentinian defence. And the Argentinians will cop some criticism, but their defence was very good. I know they conceded 39 points in the end, but the All Blacks didn't really get any soft ones. Like maybe the bobbling ball from the first one can be considered soft. The All Blacks really had to work for them. And Reece did well to crack that Argentinian defence for the first one. He called for the ball from Perenara and managed to kind of shimmy and get low for his try. So he gets a try. 11 runs, 62 metres, has a clean break, a defender beaten, which will be his try. 5 passes and an offload, 2 from 3 tackles, 2 turnovers conceded. But yeah, a lot of the wingers weren't doing a heck of a lot. So in this week, man, a try and 62 run metres, a clean break and defender beaten looks pretty sharp. Korobeti, to be fair, had like 6 defenders beaten, so he'd be maybe also worth a shout. Callaway had a try, but nothing much doing with the Springboks or the Pumas wingers, to be honest. And your last guy I'm going to chuck in here is old Jordie. It was cleared of his red card last week, so was able to play in this one and got some good minutes under his belt. Kicked well after Brodie started to cramp up in his legs, so he took over the goal kicking, so 3 conversions and a penalty for 9 points for Jordie. He has 9 runs, 52 metres, 2 defenders beaten, 10 passes, an offload, and 2 from 2 tackles as well. Looked good in the air, and just overall had a pretty solid game, did old Jordie. So there you go. That's the team of the week. I did promise some honourable mentions. I will say the Wallabies front row for their work at the death to get that match-winning penalty, and there was one that they had where they won another penalty. I think first half they won a penalty, so they did kind of front up at key moments, did the Wallabies front row. Likewise, Big Carl Tuinukuafe for the All Blacks had a pretty good shift as well. Laulala was pretty good. He conceded like 4 penalties though, which is not a good look. I think Malherbe folded Bell almost in half at one point. So yeah, a lot of good scrummages this week, to be fair. I mentioned Brodie for the ABs. That offload of his was phenomenal. So pretty hard on him not to pick him this week, because he was taking the ball to the line really well as well. But Cooper, given the circumstances, I think, is the pick. Vermeulen for the Box was their top run meter guy with 45. And he had 2 turnovers, 1, so he was putting in a good shift on his return. Kerevi, as I mentioned, his 6 defenders beaten from 8 runs. 6 defenders beaten from 8 runs. That's a good return. And Bertrano from the Pumas finished with 29 out of 31 tackles. And he's the halfback. 29 tackles. I think is the top guy for the week. I know he didn't have many chances to get much ball on, like hands on the ball, but man, 29 tackles. That's a hell of a shift, man, honestly. But there you go. That's the team of the week. As always, let me know your thoughts, guys. A bit of fun to pick and some interesting rugby at the weekend. We look forward to more and more and more as the competition continues on for the next few weeks. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.